a summarize of what we're going to discuss on this during the whole summit. So, yeah. So our history is pretty short still. As you can see here, the project started in 2004, so the project still has 7 years, which is already quite good for maturity and stuff like that. But our business actually started only 2 years ago. So that's when we kicked off the business model, and we started promoting a partnership program. We started with our business model and stuff like that. And only 2 years later, we decided that it is the moment to have already a summit. So you're making history happen. So you can be proud of yourselves. But I'm not here to talk about history. I'm here to talk more about the present and especially on the future. So you might already know this, but it's good to explain it. Our business model is based mostly on the subscription plus professional services. Why subscription? We thought that it is the best way for an open source project because there's no collision between community priorities and a business sustainability of the project. So it's a value-added service that doesn't collide with the model. So, for example, dual licenses or open core or stuff or models like that, they usually have some problems with community because the company needs to feed the developers, but if they close source part of the code that is important for the community, then we start having arguments, and that's something we wanted to avoid. So in the subscription, we mostly add all those services that are interesting for a business to have a Zentyal server on a production site in a stable environment. So, for example, quality audited updates and security updates and alerts, reports, monitoring, and stuff like that. And then about the technical support, there's no mystery in that. Everybody knows what I'm talking about. Training and certification, that was something that we put a lot of stress since the start because we knew that we need to have a good documentation, training, and a certification program in order to get enough partners, in order to get Zentyal and actually Linux and open source to the SMB market. Because that's mostly the secret of succeeding in the SMB market. SMBs, mostly of them, they don't have an IT manager or they don't have a system administrator. If they have, he's already completely full with the desktop management. And they usually rely on a local IT provider. And that's the focus of our business is trying to get into those IT providers so that we can get in a good relationship and actually make Linux get into the SMBs. And as Roberto said, 2 days ago we announced the partnership with Canonical. This is a very big step for us, and I'm going to explain why. Because as you know, we are based on Ubuntu, but so far the relationship was just technical and on the community level. There was no relationship from the commercial side. So 1 month ago, the EMEA partner manager of Canonical came to visit us in Zaragoza. He said, hey, your logo looks very much like ours. Let's be partners. We said, okay. No, seriously. We have been discussing with Canonical for quite a long time because it makes sense to go together to the market. And when we discussed, we discovered that actually we are not competitors at all, we are complementary. And some of our customers, they actually require or they actually appreciate if Canonical is backing us. So, so we got to an agreement. The agreement says basically that we can resell, we can add Ubuntu Advantage to our portfolio, and we can extend this to our partners. So our partners can become Canonical resellers through Zentyal, which is not possible otherwise, because Canonical is focused on large accounts, large partners, and so on. So in practice, what this means is that we have the tools to handle Ubuntu strategy towards the SMB market. And more important than this is that we have started a cooperation. which means that this is just a starting point, and we have now the trust, we have now the relationship to get this cooperation much deeper. So in a few years, probably, if everything goes right, we will see this moment and we'll realize that actually that was a milestone, very important milestone of essential development of Ubuntu entering the SMBs and so on. So what's the future like? What it is going to look like? So on the business side, with the partnership with Canonical, you can imagine that we are going to implement changes in our offering, because we can now add products from a third party. We can integrate them into our offering, and well, we're discussing this, but you can expect some improvements in that side. And from the partner point of view, we have received like over 800 partnership requests. I mean, we're getting close to 1,000. We're getting between 2 and 3 partnership requests per day. So you can see that we are getting lots of attention from local IT providers. What we need to do is we have to focus more on turning these local IT providers into more value-added partners. So we need to add more support, more services, more guarantee for these partners to scale up. And on the development and community side, our focus is going to be mostly on, well, we will discuss this on the roadmap this afternoon, but the desktop integration with the server, that's going to be our main focus, especially now that we have this relation with Ubuntu. We can actually help Ubuntu to become more corporate-friendly through integration with the server, which is prepared for a corporate environment. And then, of course, now that the relationship with Canonical and Ubuntu is already official, now, of course, we have to bet much more on Ubuntu. Now we have the trust. Well, the relation is not going to improve our commercial relationship, but also the community and development relationship. So that was quick. That was the short presentation. I didn't want to get into the details because we're going to discuss them during the summit. But, well, do you have any questions about this, the general picture? I just wanted to give you some general ideas of what we're going to do, what is our focus, and so that we can discuss with the whole picture. Do you have any questions regarding this? Regarding the future in general, or regarding?
LTSP is coming to the question, right?
Yes?
LTSP is something you are talking about tomorrow?
Yeah, in the roadmap, we can discuss about that. So, but we can start discussing it now also. So because you're in LTSP. Yeah. So.
You're talking about desktop integration?
Yes, yes.
One step further.
Yes, actually, the way we see it, thin clients is another way of desktop integration, and it's not incompatible. So we can integrate a typical desktop, laptop, so on, but a thin client is also another thing that we have to look for. So, and we actually know the technology, and it shouldn't be too difficult for us to integrate it. But that's that we would like the community to get involved in also, because we can imagine how the integration should be, what are the use cases that we should cover, but if we get some feedback, if we get some people testing it and saying, you are wrong here, improve here, and so on, that will be a great help for us. Also interested, okay, good.
How are you going to avoid a collision between the Canonical subscriptions and the Zentyal subscriptions?
So the question is how we're going to avoid a collision between Canonical subscription and Zentyal subscription. First of all, on the desktop subscription, we have nothing to offer, so there's no collision there. Then on the server subscription, we have discussed this with Canonical, and their subscription it's important for people who are substituting other Linux servers, whereas our subscription is good if you are substituting a Windows server. So from the market point of view, there's no collision. However, we are working with Canonical so that we can integrate their subscription or part of them in our. So you can have an Ubuntu Advantage or Ubuntu support or some official value from Canonical within our subscription. So you can with just one thing. But we have some customers who have subscriptions, Ubuntu and Zentyal in the same server, which sounds a bit weird. But the value we provide are different and complementary. But if we could put them together, that would be really cool. But that's something I have to discuss with them during this month, and I cannot give more details because I don't have them. I know that there's the intention of working on that direction, but I don't have details. More questions? Everything is clear? Everything knows where the future goes?
Zentyal is called the Linux business server. I think it's suitable for larger enterprises than business server. It may the perception that if it's small business, it's only for companies with up to 10 users, and I don't think that's actually true.
Okay, that's a good point. So Mihai from Limerick, who's going to speak after me, he put that our positioning on Windows Linux small business server because it gives the impression that we are suitable only for up to 10 people organization, small companies. But actually, Zentyal is suitable for larger ones. Well, you are right, because Zentyal is actually suitable for very large organizations. We have deployed it in an organization with several thousand users, and it works perfectly. We have decided to position that because it's easy to compare with the product. Maybe we have to evolve our positioning. That's something we have to analyze. But we could be the alternative to Windows Server in general, for example. But we need to integrate better tools that can make us comparable servers, in particular Samba 4 and LAMP stack, so that we can scale up. And it should be on the roadmap, especially Samba 4. As you can guess, it's the roadmap for this year, but the LAMP stack is something that will take.
Do you know how many servers are working today around the world?
Yes. He asked if we know how many Zentyal servers are there around in the world. So yes, we have a ping that tells us with how many Zentyal servers there are. The check, we had more than 60,000 pings from IPs. However, many people switch down during the weekend, which is something quite weird. And the others download it and then test it, so you have different peaks, and it's very reliable. But we have, in action sites, there are around 15,000. 60,000 if you get all the pings of the IPs. So the numbers are on those levels.
Maybe you can mention that you are in the 10,000.
Yeah, yes, yeah, that's a good point. During this year, the level of downloads around 1,000 per day, but these weeks we have reached the 10,000 level per 10,000 downloads per week. So it's a lot of downloads if you want to. So if we have 10,000 downloads per week, that means that 500,000 people are trying our server, which is quite impressive.
Yeah, and you put your project in a special area in the storage space.
Yeah.
We have few ones, projects that have more than 10K per week.
So yeah, so in the streaming. So thanks to reaching this level of downloads, now we are on the radar of that we belong to the very few hundreds VIP projects that actually got to that. So maybe because of the summit, or probably because of the cross how do you call cross mark? merchandising in SourceForge. So everything clear. Okay, so let's the next presentation. That's be you, Mihai. So the next presentation is from Limerick City Council. The third